just walking down the street, and look who you run into. Matthias, Radical Living. Let's see how many more YouTubers we could run into tonight. Oh wait, what's this? Is this We're All Humans of Earth?
Oh my gosh, I can't handle this.
Come on, give me a pitch.
I can't handle it. Ich laufe schon an wie eine rote Tomate. Du musst echt aufhören zu filmen.
Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that intro video. I know it was a little bit random, but always good to kind of throw some fun local footage in. So welcome to the July 2020 day trading recap. Now, this is just for the day trades that you guys see on the stream and that I do pre-market. And if I do any sort of power hour or late day trading, that's all kind of part of the day trading. It's not, the Sonos swing trade, the space swing trade. It's not in my swing trades account. This is just part of the original $25,000 challenge and now the unlimited account. So this is actually, the unlimited account is the big first thing that I want to mention here, because this is actually the first full month with the unlimited account. Last month, so June, yeah, it is August right now, but last month in terms of June, I think it was June 16th or something like that, we switched from the 25K challenge account to the unlimited account. So let me actually just show you guys some kind of interesting stats here. So this is with the 25K challenge account, which was going really, really slow because we were limited on day trades per month. And since I was learning a new strategy, I didn't feel super comfortable with going all in on every trade to kind of grow the account really, really quickly. So that's why it took a really long time to grow the account. Anyway, in total to date on that account, or just, with the unlimited and the 25K challenge right now, we've not really made that much money, about $6,000. But I think the most important part was we really learned a lot about the gap and go momentum trading strategy. And a big thing about that is, we were able to prove we were consistent. You can see total winners over total losers. And then our average win is bigger than our average loss. So we have good risk reward. We're consistent. I had a few big kind of losses in the beginning, trading things around halts and stuff that I shouldn't be doing, that I don't do a lot anymore. And that's why, I'm very weary about certain setups that you guys will see me in the live stream because of big losses. We had some decent wins, but overall it was kind of like a big learning phase the first 6 months of this year where we are taking on a new strategy. I've been trading for many years, but I was never trading the gap and go small cap momentum strategy. So that's really what this is all about. And you can see all the trades down here. In the future, this will all be accessible for you guys, but we're missing a few features here. One thing I do want to point out is actually if we change these stats a little bit here and we go to 07, which is last month, actually, let's go to 06 and the end of 06, which is 30, and then we go to 2020, and then we click apply. Although, you know what, I would probably even rather open that in a new tab just so we see it. So here we go. I'm going to click apply now. You're going to see that this last month was absolutely insane. So let me show you guys this month right now. This is just this month with the unlimited account, and check this out. $3,200 last month. So last month, or July, we absolutely killed it. I had 269 trades. And if you guys remember, I think our total of the whole entire challenge was something around, it's still loading here. Everything's always a little bit slower when I'm recording, but we had a total of 513 trades. So this month we were super, super busy. Our win ratio increased 65 almost percent, and our average win, average loss decreased a little bit. I'm still taking very good risk reward trades, but I tend to take my profits a little bit quicker. I like those base hits. There's nothing worse than being up 3-4% and then all of a sudden closing for a loss, which I felt like was happening to me a lot. Even this month it was happening to me a lot. Max consecutive wins, we went up a lot. So this is what was just loading basically from the beginning till the 6th month, and you can see my max consecutive wins was 7. So from the original kind of all stats, you can see that a lot of the good stuff really came from this last month, and sometimes it really takes a little bit of trial and error to really figure out yourself a little bit more. So I think that was kind of the nice part about this month. Hold on, let me see if I can just scroll down, maybe one here. Okay, so these are now aligned. Let's go back to here actually. So this month, we had $6,600 profit, losses of negative 3,000, which really left us with that nice 3,200 profit. Win ratio is good. Scratches is where the P&L is 0, so like I got in where I got out. Average position size though hasn't really increased that much. Actually, let's go here, and this is when right before the month started, last month started, and you can see that my average position size was about 1,000. So this month, I've increased my position size about pretty substantially, about 50%. And you guys know that I want to go from, I think my max position size was about 3,000. That'd actually be a good one to throw up here. Average position size, max and min. But basically, I would really like to go to $2,000 as my minimum position and then $5,000 as my maximum position for the month of August. So I think that's going to be a big thing for August, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. I've been getting a lot more smooth with my taking profits when I have them, so that's really a big thing. I've been also kind of reducing a lot of my risk here a little bit. We'll talk about some of these biggest winners and biggest losers in a little bit, but overall, just getting a little bit more smooth has been the biggest thing this month so far. Actually, I came out, well, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but before we kind of go into some of the major events, main repetitive lessons, other notes, and then we talk about some of the trades worth mentioning, which I really want to review with you guys. There's some really great takeaways there. I want to actually talk about some of my main patterns, and the support line bounce is oftentimes when you guys see me get into a trade pre-market, I'm kind of still holding it. I tend to hold these pretty long. Basically the price fell off a cliff, maybe from a former gapper, and I'm buying near bigger support. Those are these trades. I've actually only had 2 that were big losses, and these were actually during the actual trading day. They were fairly quick and not really too hot, but overall, I really like this pattern. You can see the win ratio is pretty nice here, and I definitely want to keep doing these kind of bigger support zone trades. So I really like the buying around big support and resistance. What I really like about it is the fact that you can manage your risk well on them. So I'll show you guys a few patterns on this one in a little bit. What else we got here? We got the breakout, which has never been my good strategy, and every time I trade breakouts, it's weird. I kind of FOMO into breakout trades because I probably missed a trade before, and then I'll trade a breakout, and it just my total winners, total losers aren't that bad. It's actually favorable, but I'm taking profits way too quickly. I'm always kind of scatterbrained, and then I don't trust these. I don't let these ride out. So I got to get better with my breakout trading. I mean, ultimately this is the gap and go challenge, and I need to let my breakouts kind of I got to get better at this. I mean, that's all like a big part of this whole challenge, but yeah, it's being a breakout trader was never really my bread and butter. So this is one of the hardest things for me to learn. Pullbacks, this has been one of my bread and butter kind of setups here during the challenge. Obviously the net profits don't really speak for themselves. This month was a little bit slower on the pullbacks, but this has always been kind of one of my better setups. Average wins pretty okay. Win to loss ratio not really the best on this one. I don't know. I was reviewing a lot of these, and I kind of, I tend to buy the pullbacks on like setups that aren't really worthwhile, like this WHLM, which actually ended up being one of my biggest losses or percentage losses. I bought this one on a after a halt. I bought the pullback. This was a very weak setup overall. So just kind of like FOMOing into some of these pullbacks and not the best time. So SCKT, for example, this was another pullback that I did. Where was this one? I think this was pre-market. I would have to kind of check a very conservative pullback entry. Yes, this was right here. So we had, pre-market 9-minute EMA, we dipped below it, bought there, and then I sold to the high. So this is kind of, your really good classic example. But there's been a lot of pullbacks this month where I was just very sloppy on. So we'll review some of those more specifically in a little bit. Dip buys, this was like my big win this month. You guys saw that I was even the last week specifically, I was really going for more dip buys. Basically, when stocks are pulling back, typically below VWAP, and I'm buying quick dips on them, ideally around those support areas. So this has been a really, really big winning for me. And you know, there are no big winners. Like I wouldn't, okay, we've had a few big winners, but I wouldn't say necessarily like that the big winners is really what made me profitable on this one. It's just like the constant base hits, guys. Just constantly, you know, when you're up a little bit, 2-3%, taking profits there, and you can see that my win ratio is just very high on these because you could manage your risk much better. Red to green, which is basically in the morning when there's a sell-off and then we have a spike higher, getting into that move and then selling into basically a green daily candle. This has been a good move for me as well. Now, I just want you guys to know that some of these patterns are compiled. So red to green could also be a dip buy. I'm thinking about maybe changing it up and making my patterns even more specific to like where every trade has to fit one pattern, but I'm still playing around with it a little bit. For now, I'm kind of just getting a gist for you know, how I want to use my trade journal to better help myself. The problem with the red to greens is I noticed my biggest problem, for example, I think on one of these trades is a pretty good example that if I buy a red to green move, sometimes I miss my entry and then I FOMO into a breakout. That doesn't happen. And then I get stuck into a giant flush to the downside. That's really been almost every time where I lose. So there's kind of been a big lesson that I really want to kind of point out here. And main repetitive lessons that actually, you know, I think I mentioned it on this trade, so I'll talk about it in a little bit. But basically, in a nutshell, FOMOing into a trade when I missed the first trade, and that's been something that happened so much this month and in the past. So I'll miss a perfect setup, and then right because I miss a big setup, I will then kind of force a trade later on. So some of my biggest winners and biggest losers are based on that alone. So we'll review that extensively in this video. Some major events this month, which are, you know, kind of cool. Last month was really kind of more funny events. This one was just pretty, you know, black and white. So on the 3rd, we launched the foundation video series. A lot of the kind of basics of the gap and go strategy, because a lot of you guys asked me in the stream, you know, Alex, where can I go to kind of learn what you're doing, to catch up with things? So I put together a few videos that are called the foundation video series. I published that on the 3rd. It's the first link in the video description below if you guys are curious. On the 7th, we started developing trade journal import feature. So in the future, you're going to be able to import trades into trade journal. It's not going to be via API. Maybe at one point it will be, but it's going to be based on CSV files. So that's going to be a pretty big thing in the future. We've been working on that, or I've been working on that every morning for like 2 hours. It's been a tough one, but I think within like a month or so, this should be available. It still takes a lot of work because you only import the entries, then you have to create a trade and match the entries with the trade. So it's not perfect, but let's say it's reduced my documenting time by hours. So there's like a very basic work option that I'm still debugging right now, but it's pretty sweet. And then on the 8th, I actually had a conviction ranking. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I came out with a recap video about, you know, getting more conviction behind your trades. And there was a 10-point checklist that I built, and it's also in the video series, the foundation video series. Big repetitive lessons, I would say this month is pre-market. Like, I don't want to look for any blow away trades. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't, but I've noticed that over and over and over again, if I'm looking for a blow away trade or something, you know, over 5%, I oftentimes get skunked and I'll start my morning off red. But if I'm looking for those base hits, even if it's a 1.5% trade, at least build a little bit of a cushion and then get more and more aggressive, has been a huge thing. And when I was reviewing my like 250 something trades, 269 trades this month, I really realized that the base hits were so important. I mean, my average win is only 2.62%. So those base hits are really, you know, building up constant profits, and they also allow you to be a little bit more confident and not get kind of overwhelmed and constantly be like, I need you know, this big profit. So that's really been a huge thing. Actually, if we go to right before this last month started, my average win was much more, but my average loss was much more. And this is a big reason because I only had a limited number of trades, so I would try to squeeze the most out of each trade. But you know, that really didn't warrant that much profit. So, you know, taking just a little chunk out of a trade and then moving on sometimes is really the best thing. So yeah. Let's kind of keep going here. So yeah, these are the repetitive lessons. here's a big one. We'll show you guys some charts in a little bit, but getting aggressive early morning with good risk reward setup. Sometimes early morning you have quick red to green moves, you have a quick dip, you have some sort of quick move where there's actually a perfect risk reward setup because the move will be right above big support or something like that. Some of my best trades this month was me taking big size right there and then pretty much wrapping up after that one trade or something like that, or at least being very conservative after that. And then a lot of my money will come from, those like 1, 2, 3 roughly good risk reward setups, and then really, really getting aggressive. So what I've started doing is like pre-market trading with half position size, and then market open kind of also being a little bit chill. But if I see a really, really good risk reward setup, getting aggressive, taking full position size, sometimes even more than full position size in terms of like, let's hit a new max. It's a lot of noise out there right now. So that's been a really, really good thing. And again, like, if you're starting to trade a breakout, later in the day, maybe 10:45, maybe it's not the time to get super aggressive and go full position size. So just, adjusting your trades accordingly. Not every trade is created equal. And not every trade has the same risk reward. So the best way to manage your risk on a high risk setup is use smaller position size. That way, if you get stuck in a flush and you lose 10%, maybe it doesn't even hurt you that much because you're like, I use a small position size. But it's still good to take the trade so you don't FOMO into a worse setup later. Sometimes that's really the case. So let me just read some of these other notes. So I had a big increase in winning rate. I had my longest winning streak ever from, from 7 consecutive trades in a row to 21 consecutive trades in a row. So that was a pretty big winning streak. I've been managing my risk much better. I had more freedom. This is probably the biggest one. I had more freedom to get out of trades, get in and out of trades due to not having trade restrictions. So like I said, going from the 25K challenge account and moving that to swing trading and then day trading a margin account with over $25,000 has been such a big help because I don't have that kind of artificial limit anymore over my head. It's so crazy basing trades on how much more you can trade that day. It's horrible. It's the worst rule ever. It's possible to get through it. I think we've proven that. I would maybe even like to do another 25K challenge at one point, maybe with an offshore account or something like that. But it's definitely, but I think the biggest thing is like, do the challenge, especially if you're new. Learn you can manage your risk. Don't blow a big account. And I would say after 3 to 6 months where you can prove that you're consistently profitable, then save up money or whatnot to go to a $25,000 plus account. Or go to maybe an offshore margin account where you can then start trading unlimited. But then you're just gonna have a little bit bigger fees. But to me, it's possible to grow a small account. I think we've definitely proven that, but at the same time, it's gonna take much, much longer because you're dealing with not necessarily just the trades, not just the charts in front of you, but you're dealing with the overall, these artificial, like this is your last trade of the day. So you gotta make it count, right? That's so much stress to put on your size. I think I've proven this month and the whole other challenge that I'm ready to increase position size. So probably starting Monday, or really starting whatever I feel so comfortable. I'm not going to put any sort of due dates on myself, but basically, as I start feeling more and more comfortable this week, I would like to have a trade at one point this month around $5,000. So again, slow and steady. There's no reason to first trade on Monday morning to go with $5,000. But as I start feeling more comfortable this month, that is something that I may want to reach. If I don't reach it, totally fine. Okay, totally fine as well. I think a big thing about trading is not having these goals. I think goals is something in today's society where it's like you have to. What's your goal? What do you want to do? How much money do you want to make a day? Like who cares? Honestly, as long as every day you come to the market, you're trading what's in front of you. You're trading to the best of your ability. And if the best trade you can see that day is don't trade, hold cash, and just close the laptop, that's the best thing you can do that day, right? But if you're starting to swing for the fences just because you want to hit some sort of arbitrary number of 100, that's going to throw you into some big catastrophes. Like there's twice this month where I was up like $480 or something like that. I could have took one more trade to try to break that artificial $500 mark finish line, but I didn't. And because I didn't take any sort of unnecessary risk to break that, I was able to keep my profits, right? What if I was like, okay, let me just force one more trade just so I could go over $500? What if that was the trade where I had a giant flush and then I started getting emotional and then I started revenge trading and then all of a sudden I went, up 480 to like maybe even a red day? Who knows? Like that's stuff that can easily happen. So sometimes, locking in profits, even if you feel like maybe you could keep trading, sometimes is really the best thing to do. One big thing I started doing this month as well is I started watching the market, pre-market, starting at 6:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know that's pretty early, and that's why usually by the end of like 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm pretty exhausted. I need to take a break, and that's why the streams typically don't go till 12 o'clock anymore. But it's allowed me to kind of get a feel for the tickers a lot more than if I started watching around like 8:30, which I usually did do. So I'll document my trades before this. Usually at like 4 or 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mind you, I'm in Berlin right now, so I'm able to do this. I have my trades documented. I've reviewed my past trades, and then I'm totally in the flow by 6:45, and by the time the market opens. So that's been a really, really big thing of mine. And I'll talk a little bit more about the importance of reviewing your past trades in a little bit. Here's a trade worth mentioning. I think this one really sums up a lot this month. I think this trade alone is just key to everything. Here, I even said it, if there was one trade I really want to sum up for July, for me, it would be this one. And then I'll read you guys this little bit in a little bit just to kind of home it in here. I have everything zoomed in by like 50%. So just to let you guys know, it's kind of heavy here. Let's quickly look at the charts on this one, and this was a pullback trade, so one of my favorite setups. So yes, SNOA. I actually had several trades that were very, very similar to this one. And if we just zoom out here, this was a lead gapper, but on the backside of a bigger move. Pre-market, you can kind of see here that it was a little shaky, constantly giving back big profits. So this was one to be a little bit careful on. But here, we had a pullback. This was actually one of those red to green moves that I was talking about. You can see, pulls back to a key support zone. Right here, bounces off that beautiful run here, has a bit of a double bottom. I didn't get any of this. I didn't get this support bounce. I didn't get this double bottom, but totally fine. Here we break above the 9-minute EMA for the first time. We have a quick pullback. I get aggressive. I jump on this pullback, and then I sell here at a pretty conservative, base hit at VWAP. Because sometimes you get a test here and all of a sudden a flush back down. So this would have been a classic example of being up 5% or so and then all of a sudden closing for a loss. So that's why I didn't sell here at 12, which, I left money on the table. I left kind of a lot of money. I left like 60 cents a share of profit on this one. But at the same time, I was able to take my profits when I had them and walk away and, getting aggressive on this dip entry right here. We had a nice pullback or a nice breakout. Then we had a quick pullback under the 9-minute EMA. I got aggressive and then I took my profits. You guys probably even remember this trade on the live stream. I feel like this actually happened. Oh yeah, this was like 2 days ago. I was like, this feels really recent. Yeah, of course, this was a recent one, but yeah, just something to consider. So I said a lot of reasons to be careful on this one, showed so many sellers. I knew I would not want to be buying breakouts, so I was very weary. Also, and this is a key part right here. I also knew that I'd likely FOMO into a bad setup if I missed one of these first entries of a possible reversal. So like I said here, this is one of those first setups of a possible reversal. And like I said here, I knew that if I did not take this entry, I would FOMO into a future entry that wasn't as nice. So knowing how I would behave in the future was a big driver behind this entry. And I think that's one of those things that come through repetition. So after 6 months trading the same setup, same pattern, same kind of small caps, I was able to see myself in the future and be like, if I don't take this trade, I'm going to be upset about myself. I'm going to FOMO into a worse trade. And so knowing that if this trade doesn't work out and I lose money, I actually won't be as upset than if this trade does work out and I'm not part of it. So it's like a really weird thing, and I hope that makes sense. But it's like this, I don't know, like reverse FOMO almost, you can say. So let me kind of read here. I kind of wrote it out here so I kind of wouldn't forget how I felt about this trade. But this trade really sums up a lot of my trading this month. It's kind of like this whole month I've been trading with a lot more hindsight knowledge in terms of like, not necessarily I know what's going to happen on this trade, but I know what's going to happen if I don't take this trade, right? Like I know how I'm going to feel. So I'm trying to, like, I'm not really like trying to say I'm trading based off of emotions, but I'm trading based on like, gut instincts, knowing that, I got to go for this trade. If I don't get it, I'm going to have a regret feeling. So I don't want to have the regret feeling. So yeah, Let me see here. This is one of my best patterns, and also the more emotional maturity I've had with this trade is how I felt more this whole month. So just having that kind of like 2020, hindsight feel on this one, through just repetition. Really, it all came from a lot from reviewing past trades and understanding my emotions and listening to my gut. This time trading off of my feelings was right, because I was trading based on how I knew I would feel afterwards if I did or didn't take this trade. It's almost hard to explain. This was no FOMO impulse, but rather a reverse FOMO, anticipating that if I didn't trade this clean setup, I would then get more FOMO if it worked, then if it didn't, I would be let me read that again. Anticipating that if I didn't trade this clean setup, I would then get more FOMO if it worked, then would be upset if it didn't, right? So if it didn't work out, whatever, it was a good setup, I took it, it didn't work out. Because trading isn't about being right or wrong. You can see here that, my winning ratio is only 65%. So I know even on the best setups, I'm only gonna be right 6 out of 10 times, let's say, right? So there's nothing wrong with being wrong, but there is something wrong with missing a good setup. And that's why, then you start getting more emotional, and then you start getting FOMO. So just understanding, if you see a good setup, jump on that, right? If it doesn't work out, totally fine. But if it does work out and you didn't jump on that, you're going to start regretting it, and you're going to start looking for another trade to force. And that's a big thing, I think, this month that I acted upon more than any other month. And a big reason I was able to get to that is right here. Getting to this level is not only took a lot of live chart time, so just staring at charts and trading, but also recapping time. I spent about 3 hours per weekday. So every day before the market opens, I probably spend an hour and a half recapping my trades, and then an hour and a half recapping the trades of that day. So hour and a half recapping the trades from yesterday, hour and a half recapping the trades from today, and then tomorrow I do the same thing. So every day, for every trade, I recap it twice, and then at least twice. Actually, at least 3 times. So the day of, the next day, and then the monthly recap. So at least 3 times. And oftentimes I rewatch my videos, so I'm probably like 3, 4, 5 times even. And then, like I said, another 6 to 8 hours a month reviewing my monthly recap. So I want you guys to know that I don't just trade and never look at that trade again. Each and every one of my trades, I study, I look at, I review, I think about, I take notes on, and that's been a huge reason why I feel like lately my learning and my comfort level has just skyrocketed. So like I said, I easily spend more time studying my past and others. I'm not even including, I watch a lot of videos from other traders, and I kind of see how I can add that to my trading than I do actually trading. So I'm studying and learning from my past and other people's past more than I do actually trading. Just like how you are right now watching this video, that's also what I'm doing on a lot of other traders, and seeing how I can improve. So that overall has been a major catalyst in improving my learning curve and growth. Let's review another trade here. Here's a nice example of why I want to focus on base hits pre-market and get aggressive on red to green moves out of the gate due to good risk reward. So not looking for big wins pre-market, but taking base hits. And this is actually a perfect example. So ACIU, this was on the 17th of July is when I published this. So that means the trade was on the 16th, because I was published from the day before. So actually, let's go down here. ACIU, this looks like a big green day here. Very cool. 5-minute chart, a little messy. Okay, so let's actually go in here. So, pre-market, I tried to do a pullback trade. This one doesn't work. I tried to do some dip trades, was looking for a break of VWAP, didn't work. Although I think on this one, I was up like 2% or so. So a base hit there would have been green. Right here, base hit would have been green, but I was looking for a bigger move again. So dropping the ball so hard. Then here, had a nice pullback entry. Was looking for a bigger move. I was up at 1.5. Could have worked. So ACIU, I actually started the day red. I think I forgot what it was. There's a whole recap video on this exact all these trades, but this is like a quick and dirty recap. But basically, constantly looking for big moves pre-market did not pay off. Sometimes it would have worked, like if I traded, I don't know, somewhere in here, which I don't even think I would have been able to do. Oh yeah, I would have been able to do. It's after 7 o'clock. But yeah, sometimes it would have worked, but a lot of times, especially, on the backside of the move, like this is the backside right here. This is the front side of the move. This is the backside of the move. And, it's sometimes hard to identify if you're on the backside of the move besides, being below the 9-minute EMA. But sometimes, you're below the 9-minute EMA and then all of a sudden you pop back above it. So it's not, at the time, in hindsight, it's always so easy to talk about a trade. It's so easy to talk about a trade in hindsight. But at the time, it's always much more different. So let me quickly just make sure all these settings are going right. Okay, yeah, so this one, I could have been up really nice pre-market. I could have had a fat daddy cushion by the time the market opened, but I was looking for those big runs. I was not taking base hits. So this one really was a big reason why I started taking base hits pre-market a little bit more. What I did do well on this one is we had a big red to green move near big support, and that's when I really loaded up on size on this one. Here at 10.29, I kind of front run the $10 a little bit, and then I sold here. It looks like just the break of the 9-minute EMA. Again, I wasn't looking for the break of VWAP. I was not being overly greedy. I was just trying to look for a base hit. This time, I actually had a beautiful exit. This was like 70 cents a share. This was pretty good. I took bigger size and everything just because this one had really good risk reward. Now, actually looking at this one, it's crazy. Can you guys identify the next trade that I missed? I missed this double bottom. This could have been a phenomenal second entry and, sell again the break of 9-minute EMA. This could have been another really solid base hit, making a lot of money. Here, we have a perfect 9-minute EMA pullback. I could have done this trade. Nice retest, and then boom, sell on the break of VWAP. And then here, the break of VWAP is another trade opportunity. We have a nice 1-minute pullback, and then we have a continuation. So there's many trade opportunities on this. It's crazy, like how many trades I miss. And oftentimes I say, like, just because I'm not trading something doesn't mean it's not good to trade, because I know a lot of you guys are asking me in the chat, but I'm just one person. I'm only looking at 1 or 2 tickers, and then I'm answering the chat room. So there's a lot going on for me. So I just want you guys to know, like, just because I'm not trading what you're trading does not mean it's not good. Just because you're trading what I'm not trading doesn't mean I'm wrong, you're wrong. I'm right, you're right. It just means, like, you got to focus on one thing at a time. And that's a big thing. So let's keep going here. Biggest winner. This was, let's see what this one was. Something tells me this was the huge trade. No, this was actually equal. Wait, hold on. Biggest winner? That's not biggest winner. Biggest loser. That's what this one is. So yeah, this was the biggest loser. I must have wrote that wrong. I'll change it a little bit. Yeah, this. Actually, you know what? Biggest winner looks like I just clicked on the wrong one. So here it's 39. Let's go to the biggest winner first. Yeah, okay, it was huge. Really cool. This was a dip buy on a double bottom. Let's quickly review this. And actually, let's see what my notes are. This was a really nice trade. I let it run much longer than the one before, mainly due to smaller size, which I was even more aggressive on it though. Yeah, so look, a little bit of FOMO coming in here because I didn't get full size on a good risk reward setup. So let's see this one. Okay, so this one was pulling back a lot pre-market. But yeah, market, and this is, again, base hits right here. All of these, should be base hits. Now we're selling off, finding some support around 5.5. I front run, actually I buy the crack of 5.5 and buy at 543. Then 9-minute EMA actually breaks, goes much higher, but I take profits at the 9-minute EMA. Boom, really solid quick win. And then we had a double bottom here. I bought the double bottom and we start moving higher. This one also has the 9-minute EMA pullback. So many good opportunities for this one. I sold this one way too early. I sold it at $6.24 and it ran up to like $7 or so, but that's not the point. Again, it's like there's nothing wrong with leaving some money on the table, but you just want to lock in profits. Here's a nice 9-minute EMA pullback. So really good opportunities on some of these stocks that are just, not even this month. We had a lot of stocks that just, fell out of the gates. So I usually avoid those, but sometimes if you see some trends working for every now and then, you want to jump on that, some patterns, and that's, yeah, pretty sweet here on huge. And this position size, wasn't even that big, $1,600. So no crazy blow away position size, but this winner was quite nice, I gotta say. Let's check out now the biggest loser, and this is the biggest dollar-based loser. The other one was dollar and percentage one. So the biggest loser was, let's quickly see this here. What happened? So pullback pattern, bought the pullback and got whacked so hard, couldn't get out before the flush. It was what it was. It is what it is. I don't know why I'm buying aggressive moves on a stock with so much selling pressure. Yeah, so I was a little bit ashamed of myself on this one. And I'll tell you why. It's because I missed the nice support bounce here, right? And then I'm trying to buy this pullback here, which was kind of an okay entry, but this stock was way overextended, near big resistance. I don't know. I feel like, getting aggressive on this one was probably just not the right idea. It had so much selling pressure already, and then it flushed down here super hard. And then, I took a really, really big dollar loss on this one. I also went, really aggressive with my size on this one. Position size, well, actually not too much, but still just weird, not fun trade. And the biggest loser, percentage loser, I think, why do I feel like that this is the one this one actually took really, really small position size. Really stupid hold for me. Took my max loss. So this one, I was just holding too long, and the big reason I was holding it too long is because I had tiny position size. I could have easily averaged down, but it's always better to cut a position than average down blindly. So because if I average down, I cut right around here. If I average down, who knows? Maybe it just would have been a ginormous loss. Right? Because maybe I would have I said, if we break 6.9, I'm going to stop out. Who knows? I could have stopped out at 6.8. And then, the biggest run ever. Talk about major FOMO if that would have happened. So yeah, I mean, this trade is you have to be careful. I bought the pullback here and it kept on flushing down. So, not getting out quick enough. And sometimes these pullbacks we saw in the past, they would have worked. Many times it does work. Like right here's a nice pullback that works. This time it didn't. So if it doesn't work, you just got to cut your losses because you don't know if the stock's ever going to go back up again. This trade, like looking at it now, maybe I felt a little, okay, this is why I was so nervous about it, because this one was halted. That's why it wasn't really the best buy. Yeah, this is actually pretty silly now that I think about it. Plus, look, I actually bought near $9. That's way too aggressive on this thing that's getting halted. So I probably chased this one a little bit. This was probably more of a breakout trade than a pullback. Yeah, crazy. I don't know. Sloppy trading on my end. But yeah. The one thing I did right about this one is I took small position size because I knew this pattern was not ideal. I knew that this setup was not ideal. So what do? I take small position size. Imagine I took a $2,000-$3,000 position size and then we had a giant percentage loser. Like that's how you really hurt your daily P&L. So just being conscious like where you are in the day, where you are with the pattern that you're trading. And then, getting aggressive on the good setups and taking the other setups so you don't FOMO later, but just taking a step back and being like, okay, this setup's not as great. Let me just use smaller position size. And then base hits. Like pre-market, definitely base hits because you don't want to have a big red hole before the market really opens. But in general, base hits always is a good idea. So pre-market, I'm taking base hits and I'm using smaller position size. And then, once the market opens and there's a really good risk reward setup, those are the ones you really want to double down on. So I think those are like probably the two biggest lessons that I couldn't really emphasize more. And then honestly, maybe the number 3 would be just review your past trades. Like, let me know in the comments below, do you review your past trades? How much do you guys review your past trades? And does it help? Like, I think I even remember this in school. I think some professor told me this. They're like, if you're doing one, or it was like some sort of college article, I don't remember, but let's say you have like 6 college classes and you're in each class for 2 hours, right? You're in class for 2 hours, but you should be studying again. I think it was like the same time or twice that amount of time. I totally forgot, but there's a whole article about that. Like if you want to be a good student, understand what you're actually learning in class, because learning, it takes a while to absorb all the knowledge, all the things, all the lessons that you learned that day. So I might trade it that day and I feel like I've learned something, but for me to retain that knowledge and go into long-term knowledge, it takes like an additional amount of time, even by like a factor of 2 to master that. So if you have, 6 college classes and each college class is 2 hours long, you need to dedicate like 12 hours a week to studying if you really want to master that material. So it's kind of like that is the method I kind of started applying to my trading. And I think once I started really reviewing my trades and reviewing the trades, reviewing my statistics and all that stuff much more seriously and putting a lot of time into that, I've been able to feel like I've been improving my trading much quicker. Because I'll just see a setup and I'll be like, oh my God, I've seen this setup so many times. And I know how I feel if I will take it, if I don't take it, what the likelihood of it breaking out, maybe not statistically, but I'm getting more and more where it's kind of second nature at one point, and that's been a big power through reviewing my trades. So actually, we could just go back to that. Yep. So guys, there's going to be a link to this post that you guys can review on your own time if you are curious. It is going to be the first link in the video description or the first link in the comment section. And in the future, you guys will also be able to review all these trades on your own time. I still need to set that up. Right now, the big kind of thing that Trade Journal is working on is the import feature. And after the import feature, I want it to be so you guys can check out other people's portfolios if they are public. Remember, if you have a portfolio, you can make it private or you can make it public. In the future, being able to review other people's portfolios, I want to be a thing, because then you guys can review my portfolio and check out each one of my trades on your own time, especially, you know, on the day off. I think that's going to be a really, really cool thing. You guys will also be able to check my stats and see, you know, maybe review all my dip trades or whatever and see what lessons you guys can learn from that. And I think that's going to be a very powerful thing as well in the future. Whew, I know this video is always a little bit longer. The monthly recap videos are always quite long, but I think there's good information to take away. So guys, I appreciate you sticking with me through this. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy the content. If you're totally new here, consider subscribing. We go live every morning at 9:15 a.m. to review the watch list, and then we trade the market open every day the market's open. So yeah, that's pretty much everything here. Again, here are my stats for July, and looking forward to August. Hopefully it's going to be even better. You never know. I'm not trying to put any extra pressure on myself, but I do want to increase my position size. And if I could maintain or get better win-loss ratio, that'd be huge. Risk reward, I could definitely improve on. I'm just happy that it's positive. But yeah, it used to be much, much better. But yeah, overall, really cool stuff. I can't be any more happy. This was a great month, one of the best months of the year on the Gap and Go challenge account specifically, because that is where I'm learning a new strategy. In the past, you guys already know, I was more of a swing trader. I was more of, you know, major reversals, support zones and stuff like that. So that's why, you know, dip trading is still my kind of go-to thing, but I'm trying to get more aggressive on the breakouts and pullbacks and kind of start mastering those as well. But one step at a time. All right, guys, I will see you then on Monday, I believe. And yeah, till then, have a great rest of your guys' weekend. Stay safe, and like always, make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.